at the end of the season. The Oilers will have the football to start play here in the second half. Spencer George and Mike Archie are deep. John Hall, one of the top kickoff men in the NFL, will do the honors for New York. Tied at 3 as we start play in the second half. Oilers coming off that emotional win over Pittsburgh. The Jets disappointing defeat at the hands of the Colts. Second half is underway. Hall booms it through out of the end zone. And the Oilers will have it 1st and 10 from the 20. Look at the halftime stats. In the first quarter, it was all New York offensively. Second quarter, tables turned, and the Oilers caught up in most categories. Rushing yards, well, you see it. Curtis Martin just not doing much. Jets have primarily passed here this afternoon. Total yards very close. Time of possession, it was all Jets in that first quarter, but again, as mentioned, the Oilers doing a much better job in the second quarter of play.
And every offensive team wants to establish the run with Curtis Martin. 2.5 yards a carry, that's just not getting it done.
Martin had 134 yards last week against the Colts. Not even close today. Third quarter action. Eddie George driving the pile ahead to the 28-yard line. Solid pickup on first down of 8 yards. Jason Lehman, the right guard, laying out a block.
And it's runs like that that make it much easier for quarterback Steve McNair. And the Jet defense, they're matching up man-to-man up front and getting a lot of people down in three-point stance on first down and putting big bodies up front on the defensive line to combat the offensive run push of the Tennessee Oilers.
George went over 1,000 yards on the season in the first half, second in the AFC behind Terrell Davis in rushing. Had to get to the 30-yard line for the first down. Ernie Logan and Brian Cox combining.
Brian Cox is like a man possessed with that right cross. On that last play, he came across the top of the pile again and gave Eddie George, the running back from Tennessee, a punch on that play. He's going to get fined for that. Gene Washington from New York, I guarantee, is going to take a couple of looks at that film.
Hey, you respect the guy for trying to make something happen, but do it within the rules. And Cox might be taking a step over that line. He's walking it. I think on a couple of occasions he's gone over it. We saw what happened with Kansas City and Derek Thomas. Don't want to equate it quite to that level just yet, but Cox is straddling that line. McNair on the counter. Eddie George. The Jets were leaning one way defensively, and McNair able to find George on the other side. Mo Lewis and Ernie Logan collaborating. 8 yards on the pass play.
What makes this play work is the exceptional play-action fake that Steve McNair carries out on this play. He's going to fake the ball to Eddie George, and the defensive linebackers, look at the linebackers step up in the line of scrimmage. They're already beat on this play. It's already over. Eddie George is out in the flat, and that allows Steve McNair to complete the pass.
Frank Wycheck lines up wide. On a 2nd and 2, that's Wycheck in motion. McNair checking off. Play clock down to 1. It was very close. Oilers get the playoff. McNair guns one ahead. Deflected and incomplete. Wycheck the target. Pepper Johnson was right there.
And the Jets are in a deep zone. Look at the safeties pull off. Watch them drip back. Pepper Johnson's in his zone. He's got the middle of the field. Look, he's going to come back to Frank Wycheck. He's just going to settle down in the middle of the field and try to find an open spot in that zone, but Pepper Johnson was in the position to make that play.
Now a 3rd and 2. Jets come out with a dime package, 6 defensive backs crowding the line. McNair, another shovel for Wycheck, and he's got some room to work with. Into Jets territory and forced out of bounds at the 46. 16 yards.
But I'm the old-timer pulling around 74. Bruce Matthews gets a splatter block, allowing Frank Wycheck to take the ball down the field for the first down. He doesn't even get touched till he gets past the first down marker. But it was a great block from Bruce Matthews. He's going to pull here, get a tremendous block right there, just putting him on his backside. That allows Frank Wycheck to get to the open field. And they tried this play before. Wycheck picked up the first down, fumbled the ball. They recovered it. This play gets the first down and hangs on to the football.
2 tight end set as Michael Roan checks into the game. George brought down quickly. Brian Cox trying to keep the rest of the defenders enthusiastic. Jets lost some focus in the second half last week against the Colts.
And Brian Cox was all over the field in the second half trying to ignite his team. Here, he makes plays all over the field. He beats the block of Jackie Harris, the tight end, goes across his face, makes the tackle in the backfield on running back Eddie George. One thing you can say about Brian Cox, he comes to play. He's a lunch bucket type guy. He's going to come to play every day and have fun and make plays for him.
No gain on the play. The official spotted at the 46. McNair stepping up, throwing the deep ball down the sideline. Incomplete. Otis Smith breaking it up. Derek Mason, the intended receiver. Anthony Pleasant applying the pressure on McNair in the backfield.
And he laid a lick on quarterback Steve McNair right on his knee. On the outside, if he gets this ball off a little earlier, he beats his man to the outside, has to step on him right there. Mason's got to step on the defender, but he's got to come back for the ball. The reason why he has to come back for the ball is the backside of quarterback Steve McNair. Anthony Pleasant right there nails him right at waist high. Good pressure by Pleasant, but that's the reason why that ball was thrown short.
Don't forget, coming up after the game, 60 minutes here on CBS. 8th play of the drive. Oilers are 2 of 6 on third down conversions. Tied at 3. McNair stepping forward, in some trouble. Loose football. Jason Ferguson knocked it loose. And the Oilers get it back. Bruce Matthews.
Bruce Matthews, that old KG veteran, Johnny on the spot. But it's amazing that the Jets got to quarterback Steve McNair. They only used a 3-man rush and got the sack. You've got 5 guys blocking against 3, but the great play of Jason Ferguson, unrelentless, going after quarterback Steve McNair and stripping him of the ball. That's tremendous pressure out of a 3-man rush.
McNair had no fumbles coming into the day. He's got 2, but no change of possession. The Hentrick punt. Leon Johnson fair catch signal. And the Jets will have their first possession of the second half when we come back to Nashville. Tied at 3. The Jets and the Oilers with 10:42 to play in the third quarter. Tennessee just had its first possession of the second half. Now the Jets get their turn. From the 20-yard line, Johnson in motion, a pitch for Martin. The Jets trying to get their running game going. And Martin getting through a hole, still unable to pop that long one. But a 9-yard pickup on first down. Johnson and Fabini with a couple of blocks for Martin to work with.
And a nice job by Jason Savini pulling out around the down block of the tight end and getting out in traffic and just clearing a way for Curtis Martin to find an area where he can take the ball and get positive yardage. It makes it easy for quarterbacks when it's 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. Now you can take a shot down the field to stretch the defense because you always have 3rd and short to get the first down.
But Martin averaging just 3 yards a carry so far today. Martin has the first down. Kept the feet churning a bit to pick up an extra yard on the play. Joe Bowden the tackle for Tennessee.
Talking to Curtis Martin yesterday, he was telling us that he doesn't mind those 1 and 2 and 3 yard gains. And here's a situation where he fouls his blockers, makes a nice cut in the middle of the field, but he doesn't mind those short gains, particularly when it's a short yardage pickup.
He made the analogy about a hitter in baseball seeing a pitcher for the 2nd and 3rd time in a game. If he can chip away at a defense and kind of pick up the nuances of an opposing team, he'll get stronger as the game goes on. Martin, this time, spun around like a top as he gets ahead to the 38-yard line. Kenny Holmes the tackle, a 4-yard gain on first down.
And the Jets come out and just pound the ball in the second half on their first possession. And this is the way they attacked the second half last week against Indianapolis coming out of the second half. Very conservatively pounding the football and running between the tackles.
Martin by himself in the backfield. On 2nd and 6. Testaverde throwing. Lofts one up in the air, and a flag comes down. Crabette, the intended receiver. Samari Roll was involved. The rookie out of Florida State, 2nd-round pick.
And that's an easy one. That'll be on the defense. And Samari Roll had his hand on Wayne Crabette. Down the field of play. And that's what players...
Pass interference, 21 defense. First down, New York.
That's what players, when they step it up to the NFL, they've got to learn. Once you go by 5 yards, you cannot touch the wide receiver. Good move by Wayne Chrebet. Turn move to the outside. Going down the field to play, you can't touch the wide receiver. And in the last play, Samari Rolle did.
So the football is placed at the 35-yard line. Jets have it in Tennessee territory. Martin wouldn't go down initially, and now he does. Steve Jackson wrapping him up. Oilers have some veterans in this secondary. Jackson, Darrell Lewis, Marcus Robertson, but no Blaine Bishop today. A knee injury could keep him out of action for the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's a sprained knee, but not a torn ACL, which was what the first thought was when Bishop suffered the injury last week. No gain for Martin, 2nd and 10. In motion, Chrebet. On the pitch. Martin. He was met by Eddie Robinson. So the Jets not going away from this game plan of trying to establish the run.
They're trying to circle the defense by running their sweep to the outside, but Eddie Robinson has enough speed to go down the line of scrimmage and fill those gaps. There's no gap or no seams for running back Curtis Martin to hit because the Tennessee Oilers are filling every gap, every hole, and every seam when Curtis Martin tries to turn the ball down the field.
Leon Johnson replaces Martin on a 3rd and 7. Testaverde underneath the coverage. Wayne Chrebet just keeps producing first downs for this Jets team. 14 yards on the play.
Was out of bounds by number 21, Samari Rolle.
Wayne Chrebet's like a magician. When it comes 3rd down, I double team the guy. I don't let him go out there and have one guy cover Wayne Chrebet. Tennessee comes with a blitz, but it's a quick hitter to the outside. Wayne Chrebet's on the outside, and you have a rookie, Samari Rolle, covering him. You've got to get someone on Wayne Chrebet in his face at the line of scrimmage, make him make his move on the line of scrimmage, and then play him off the ball. But if you let him off the line of scrimmage cleanly, he's going to beat you.
4 catches, 38 yards for Chrebet. On a 1st and 10 from the 17. In motion out of the backfield is Ward. Testaverde looks towards the end zone. Incomplete. Wayne Chrebet had a step. Samari Rolle with a deflection.
That was a big play by the rookie. That's a big-time play coming across the top, making his burst right at the last instant in front of Wayne Chrebet and pulling that ball virtually out of Chrebet's hands. Chrebet's got him beat on the post pattern, but he goes in front of him and just takes the ball from Chrebet and knocks it out of his hands. Good play by the rookie, Samari Rolle, but that pass had touchdown written all over. Wayne Chrebet ran the precise route. The ball was right behind the goal, right in front of the goalpost on the post pattern, but he just couldn't come down with the reception.
2nd and 10 for New York. Clock is stopped with 6:47 remaining in the 3rd.
Timeout. New York. Their first charge, team timeout. This is a full timeout.
First possession of the 2nd half for the Jets. They're trying to take the lead.
Casco GTX. Drive hard. And by DirecTV. What are you looking at?
The Jets and Oilers are tied at 3 with 6:47 to play in the 3rd quarter. In their last 3 losses, the Jets have not scored in the 2nd half. Movement on that right side, trying to get back with Kenny Holmes as flags fly down before the play even gets off. Was it Jumbo Elliott or was it Kenny Holmes?
Prior to the snap, ball start. 76 offense. 5 yards. Repeat 2nd down.
It was Jumbo Elliott. Second Jet penalty.
Very uncharacteristic of Jumbo Elliott. There's Jumbo right there. See if he flinches. I don't see him move unless he sneezes.
He may have a cold.
It's a little chilly down there.
I did not see him move either. So that was from the backside. Who knows from the front side whether or not there was a flinch. But as mentioned, just the 2nd penalty on New York and a 2nd and 15 for the Jets. Martin cutting it back. Curtis Martin spun down inside the 10-yard line by Baron Wortham. 15 yards on the ground for Martin.
And that was a tremendous job of Curtis Martin following his blockers on the draw. Set it up well, goes to the inside, gets blocking by Jumbo Elliott on the outside. Keyshawn Johnson down the field, picking off defenders, allowing Curtis Martin to take the ball inside the 10-yard line.
We'll see if Martin had enough for the first down. He did not. Last week against the Colts, the Jets had a number of opportunities to put Indianapolis away, but instead of touchdowns, they were forced to settle for field goals. This is a perfect opportunity to put 7 points in between them and Tennessee.
Not only that, Ian, here's a situation where Bill Parcells has had problems in short yardage and goal line situations with running the football. Missed assignments, guys not moving guys off the line of scrimmage, or offensive line moving the defensive line. He needs to get that tough mentality of a killer instinct on the offensive line to get movement, allowing his backs to get those first downs and touchdowns instead of just trying a field goal attempt inside the red area.
9th play of the drive, and it's a pivotal one. A 3rd and 1. Double tight end set with Brady and Baxter. Martin and Byers in the backfield. Martin gets the call, trying to get to the outside, and brought down right at the first down marker, and enough for New York to get a new set of downs.
That was all Curtis Martin on that play. 2nd and 3rd effort to get the first down, because in all reality, he should have been dropped for a loss in the backfield. He didn't get the blocking to the outside. He had to bounce the ball all the way to the outside edge. Keith Byers in front of him getting the block, but the penetration by the Tennessee Oilers. Right here, they've got a chance to get him, but he strings it out. A nice straight arm to the face of the defender, pushing him back. Kerry Phoenix, the rookie, allowing Curtis Martin to get the first down.
1st and goal from the 6. Draw play. Martin spinning inside the 5 and down inside the 3. Jackson and Robertson combining on the tackle. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 3.
You don't see many teams run the draw play on first down inside the 10-yard line, because most of the time you're going to run the football. But because the Tennessee Oilers like to penetrate, they like to put pressure on offense, they like to blitz, that's a great call, because it gets the defenders upfield in the backfield and gives Curtis Martin a chance to pick and weave and get closer to the goal line.
2nd and goal. Byers sets up as a 3rd tight end. Handoff Martin, trying to bull ahead and nothing doing. Tennessee was ready, and Joe Bowden helped lead the charge.
Ian, this is tough real estate. You can't come in here with high heel shoes on and tippy toe. You've got to hit the hole, Curtis Martin. You can't lean in that area. You've got to force the issue. And as soon as you stop, the defense is going to nail you on the line of scrimmage and get penetration. Bill Parcells knows that. They need to create a freeze for Curtis Martin to hit, because once he slows down in the red area, you've got too many jerseys in a short area that are going to attack the line of scrimmage.
3rd and goal. Corbett in motion. Timing pattern. Keyshawn Johnson's got it. Touchdown, Jets. New York regains the lead. A perfectly thrown ball, and Johnson climbed the imaginary ladder to go up and get it.
And that's just a bigger man against a smaller man. A good small man in Darrell Lewis, a great defensive cornerback, but a bigger man in Keyshawn Johnson because of that athletic ability and his height and the length of his arms. Watch him go up here and just go over the defender. Easy for Keyshawn Johnson, pitch and catch, concentrating on the ball, both of them, but Keyshawn Johnson with those long arms and big hands pulls it in for the touchdown.
Keyshawn Johnson with his 8th touchdown reception, tying a career high. John Hall adds the extra point. That's Johnson at his best, using him against those smaller defenders, and it worked to perfection. New York puts a touchdown on the board. It's 10-3 Jets. The sun has fully set here in the city of Nashville, and the New York Jets with a 10-3 lead on Tennessee with 4:10 to play in the 3rd quarter. Don't forget, after the game, 60 minutes immediately following our coverage of the Jets and Oilers right here on CBS. Oilers start out at the 20. Their average drive start has been just shy of the 18-yard line today, so they've been dealing with a lot of real estate. McNair, a throw on first down. Kevin Dyson in some traffic. He brings it in for a short gain. Otis Smith, the coverage.
That's a smart play by the Tennessee Oilers. Are going after the defense of the Jets. They've got a lot of people close to the line of scrimmage, 7 to 8 people in the box. That's from the tight end back around the front line of scrimmage, and that puts pressure on the defense. It opens up holes in pockets behind the linebackers.
While the Oilers have been very good of late, winning 5 of their last 6, they haven't been very good at home. 2-3 so far this season. Eddie George trying to stumble ahead, and the Jets were prepared for him, including Ernie Logan. It'll be 3rd down coming up. Well, it's Monday on CBS. David Letterman hosts all new Thanksgiving episodes of Cosby, King of Queens, and Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by Dave's 5th anniversary primetime special, Monday, on CBS. 3rd and 6 for Tennessee, 3 wide receivers. Jets counter with 6 defensive backs. We hit the 3-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Out of the shotgun, McNair. Stepping up, plenty of time. Incomplete. He was looking for Wycheck. Corwin Brown getting a piece of it.
Nice job.
The Oilers forced
the
the punt.
Absolutely, but nice job of coverage by the Jets. But what the Jets are doing, they're going with 3 down linemen, and they're using James Ferrier as a spy, and he's going to stay one-on-one with quarterback Steve McNair and mirror him wherever he goes, and that allows the defense to bring in 7 defenders to cover the wide receivers down the field.
Greg Hendrick's streak came to an end on his last punt. He had 7 consecutive punts of over 50 yards. Leon Johnson over to make the fair catch signal at the 31-yard line. 45-yard punt, Jets with a 7-point lead. They have the football when we come back. Them and Tennessee with New York in front, 10-3. Well, log on to NFL.com for sortable stats. Also highlights of all the action, Week 12 at www.nfl.com. 1st and 10 for New York. A quick little out for Keyshawn Johnson. And a good gainer on 1st down. Testaverde making the connection. Denard Walker with the coverage. And a pickup of 7 on the play.
And the Jets want to separate Keyshawn Johnson away from the defense, get him in his own environment, in space. And if the Tennessee Oilers are going to continue to put one man on Keyshawn Johnson, that's easy pickings on the outside, and Vinny Testaverde will take advantage of that.
Johnson has gone over 700 yards receiving for the season. And his 8th touchdown catch earlier this quarter. Testaverde, lots of time, and complete. Dedrick Ward, he was upset at himself that he couldn't stay in bounds to get some extra yardage. For the Jets at the 39-yard line of Tennessee.
Nice move by Dedrick Ward on the outside to get open, but here's the situation. They've gone to Dedrick Ward the entire afternoon, and he's wide open. That's a good pickup of 22 yards, but he's mad at himself because he couldn't stay in bounds. He's wide open. He's tippy-toeing the lines. He wants to stay in bounds, but he just can't.
First catch of the day for Ward. And the Jets have it with a 1st and 10 at the 39 of the Oilers. Grady, the motion man. Testaverde on the slant for Johnson. Knocked down at the 20-yard line. Robertson and Walker as Johnson split defenders.
If you're going to leave Keyshawn Johnson to the outside, you need the second help to get there in a hurry. And Denard Walker has him, but Keyshawn Johnson with a slam, he just splits the seam, and he gets late help by Marcus Robinson, but it's too late. If you're going to leave Keyshawn in that situation, it's going to be a 1st down.
Tell you what else, Testaverde's making some big-time throws. From the 19, Johnson on the brink of going over 100 for the day. This is Martin, the Jets mixing it up. A flag comes down as Martin crossed the 15-yard line. Not a lot of penalties here today. This one will work against New York. Just their 3rd of the day.
Holding against the Jets, and it's a very cleanly played football, and both of these teams are very well coached and disciplined teams.
Bill Parcells coached against Jeff Fisher when Fisher was an assistant with Philadelphia.
Off the 10 yards, repeat 1st down.
Fisher coached under Buddy Ryan, and when we talked to Parcells about maybe not being familiar with this Oilers team, he said, hey, unfamiliar with this system.
He's seen Buddy Ryan enough times in the 80s, as I have with the Washington Redskins. And Dan Henning's also on the staff for the Jets. He's faced that defense also. So that 46 defense is no surprise to Bill Parcells. He's seen it 10,000 times.
So they'll back it up. Under a minute left in the third. Here's a pitch for Martin. He's got some blockers. Martin is dragged down as he was able to get some good yardage on first down. Eddie Robinson with a stop. Brought down at the 20, Jason Fabini with a block.
And Eddie Robinson's a name we've called the entire afternoon, and he's going sideline to sideline. That's his 8th tackle this afternoon. He's been in the backfield. He's been mirroring Curtis Martin. He goes wherever he goes. He's making penetration, putting pressure on the quarterback. He's played an outstanding game this afternoon.
And that will be the final play of the third. End of the third quarter here in Tennessee. 10-3, Jets lead it. We're back after a word from your local station for more. With a 2nd and 11 from the 20. Vinny Testaverde, 3rd in the NFL in QB rating. Came in leading the AFC. Randall Cunningham, top-rated quarterback in the National Football League. Testaverde straight back. Over the middle, Curtis Martin accelerating ahead inside the 5-yard line. Joe Bowden making the tackle low. But now the Jets inching closer and closer to the goal line.
Just a simple dump pass out of the backfield. Curtis Martin has to beat a linebacker one-on-one, and Joe Bowden, he does that, turns for the goalpost, and just gets ankle tackled right at the end.
Martin, 3 catches, 41 yards. It's a 1st and goal from the 2. 3 tight end look. Play action, Testaverde. Touchdown! Keith Byars. And the Jets taking advantage of situations that they did not take advantage of last week against the Colts. New York extends its lead.
And in the red area on the goal line, they don't have the presence to force the ball into. They just don't have that mentality on the run. So you go to your older veterans. You go to Keith Byars. He knows how to catch the football. He can win on the goal line. Here he wins. It's a post pattern. He wins. He gets in front of the defender. Sure-handed Keith Byars. He's going to come down with that ball. Talked to Keith earlier before the game. He said, hey, I had a couple runs last week. I'm looking forward to touching the ball even more today.
2nd touchdown of the season receiving for Keith Byars. Testaverde was just brilliant on the drive. New York 17-3 in front. Drive 5 of 5 throwing the football for 69 yards, culminating in this pass to Byars.
And between these two, there's 25 years of NFL experience, but the excitement and the fire is still there. Vinny's happy. Big play by his friend, Keith Byars, putting the ball in the end zone and increasing the lead for the New York Jets.
Kickoff from Hall. This one is short. Mike Archie, a returnable kick. Archie down to the 25-yard line. Flag down on the play. Leon Johnson making the tackle after the 15-yard return. And Tennessee gets caught. So the Oilers actually would have had pretty good field position for that.
50 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Compared to what they've been used to today, the 25-yard line would have been a nice change of pace for Jeff Fisher's team, but instead they will back it all the way out inside the 10-yard line.
And talking to Jeff Fisher yesterday, he said, hey, we're going to return one. We're going to hit this seam. We're going to get a big kickoff return, but thus far today they haven't been able to get past the 30 yards.
What do they need to do offensively, Mark, that they have not done up to this point? What has to change?
Well, when they had success moving the football, Steve McNair ran out of the pocket. They had plays designed for him to run out of the pocket, run with the football, move the pocket. I think that's what they have to do because he puts too much pressure on the defense when he rolls out of the pocket.
They'll stay on the ground right now with Eddie George lunging forward. Jason Ferguson making the stop among some other tacklers in on the play. And George picks up 3-4 yards on 1st down, going over 1,000 yards earlier today and joining 4 other players to hit that distinction. Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, Jamal Anderson, and Emmitt Smith. Davis has a shot at Eric Dickerson's record. 2nd and 6. Jets lead it 17-3. That one back set with George. Looking for an opening. And nothing there for him because Dwayne Gordon closed the hole. Time now for an NFL Today report. And Jim Nantz.
Well, this might surprise you, Ian. It was 17-0 Denver. Now Donald Hollis, on his 31st birthday, is bringing back Oakland. He throws the touchdown pass to Jet right here, but Denver is driving, and the clock is running out on the 3rd quarter at Mile High. We'll head to the 4th, 17-14, Denver, back to you.
Broncos trying to remain undefeated, and the Oakland Raiders giving them a little run for their money. 3rd and short. George making the catch, spun down behind the marker. Mo Lewis, what a play.
Mo Lewis has had an outstanding year, was quiet last week against the Indianapolis Colts, but comes up with a big play in the open field, one-on-one with Eddie George as he's trying to get the first down. Mo Lewis just snags him and snatches him down on the field of play. Right here, Eddie George, he's got his shoulders turned, he's trying to make a move. Mo Lewis beats the block of Mark Stefanowski, the center, and makes the tackle with one arm.
6th tackle of the day for Lewis. And the Oilers send Craig Hentrick on the field to punt. Johnson waiting at his own 35. Line drive for Hentrick. Johnson fields at the 40. And he's brought down at the 47 by Dennis Stallings. 43-yard punt, 8-yard return. Mo Lewis keeping Eddie George behind the marker, and the Jets get the football back. A lick on Testaverde, but he was able to get it off in time to make the connection. Now coming up Tuesday on JAG. Imagine a stealth fighter going down in the Middle East. It's a pilot accused of espionage. How do you save them both? An all-new JAG, Tuesday on CBS. Last week, the Jets did not score in the second half against the Colts. So far, 14 points in the second half to take a 17-3 lead. And Vinny Testaverde has done the job. Martin looking for some blocking, spinning off. And brought down at the 36-yard line after a gain of 2 on first down.
You can bet Bill Parcells wants to massage the clock now. Take as much time off as he can. Work the numbers, move the chains, try to get more points, obviously, but here he wants to pound the line of scrimmage because he knows this offense of Steve McNair and the Tennessee Oilers, they have quick strike capability, and he wants to keep the ball out of their hands, and that's how you do it, is by running the ball with Curtis Martin.
Play clock winding down on a 2nd and 7 from the 35. Jets get the play off. Testaverde, a quick throw. Keyshawn Johnson, his 10th catch of the day, and that is a career high. Johnson has gone over the 100-yard mark. We were told he would be a big part of the game plan, and that's exactly what the Jets have done. They've used Johnson in a number of different areas.
And that's the 2nd consecutive week of over 100-yard reception for Keyshawn Johnson. That's outstanding. He wanted to be the go-to guy, and he is the go-to guy. And he said, hey, playmakers have to show up in this game on Sunday, and he showed up today.
That double threat the Jets have at receiver with Corbett and Johnson. Last week, both went over 100 yards. This week, it's Johnson with the 112-yard effort on 10 catches. Jets have called a timeout with 9:07 to play in the 4th. They lead it 17-3. We're back after this. Eddie George and Steve McNair watching from the sidelines. And they have seen the Jets offense just come out and dominate the second half of action. Bill Parcells, quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, 8 straight completions for the Jets. And now New York with a 3rd and 3. The crowd sensing that this is an important play if the Oilers are going to even have an opportunity to come back. On the pitch, Martin cutting it back for the first down and more. Curtis Martin breaks free for the touchdown. A 31-yard run, the longest of the season for Martin. And pay dirt.
And not only that, that's the first run for Curtis Martin over 20 yards and over 300 carries dating back to last year. fouls the blocking of Kyle Brady in motion. They run this toss sweep. They've been running it the entire evening. Curtis Martin picks his hole, cuts the ball down the line of scrimmage. There goes Brady in motion. There's the pitch. Plants right there, turns down, makes a cut right there, and he's off to the races. Great vision by Curtis Martin, just outruns the defense, but he got a fantastic job by his offensive line of blocking up front and creating a scene for Curtis Martin.
Sixth 100-yard game this season for Martin. And the Jets now turning it up a notch. 31-yard touchdown. New York 24, Tennessee 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Pick Enterprise, we'll pick you up. And by Staples, the office superstore.
New York adds to its lead, 24-3. Jets now in front, and Martin, did he ever need that? He talked about breaking out a long one yesterday with us, and it comes today, his longest run of the season. Mike Archie on the return off of the Hall kick, and Archie spilled out at the 30-yard line.
Watch Keyshawn Johnson right here. He'll block down. Joe Bob, the middle linebacker, will overrun the play, but Curtis Martin will make a great move to cut back on the play and run for the touchdown. The first person in the end zone to congratulate him is wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson. Here's the block by Johnson. Overrun right there, and the cut by Martin. He's in the end zone, but the hustle by Keyshawn Johnson, when you talk to him, he's proud of a lot of things he's doing, but one of the things he's most proud of is his blocking, how he's performed not only by catching the ball in traffic, but blocking for his running backs and other wide receivers.
Been an all-around outstanding day for Johnson, both receiving the football, over 100 yards, a touchdown, and the blocking that Mark just alluded to. McNair trying to lead his team back, and they're in a deep hole. Very little offensively. Mo Lewis knocking the ball away.
And I think the reason why quarterback Steve McNair is having a tough time getting the ball to his tight ends and H-back Jackie Harris and Frank Wycheck is the team speed of the linebackers for the New York Jets. They're able to cover those guys in underneath coverage one-on-one in the open field and do an outstanding job of not letting Steve McNair get the ball to him.
McNair, 10 of 20 throwing the football, just 98 yards. With a shotgun. Stepping forward. And engulfed Jason Ferguson. Second sack of the season for Ferguson.
And that's the two big tackles on the inside, getting penetration and relentlessly going after quarterback Steve McNair. Anthony Pleasant upfield, McNair scrambles. There he goes around the corner. You'll see Ernie Logan, but Jason Ferguson engulfs him also. They're going to have to share that sack. And I'll tell you what, we had Jason Ferguson in the meeting room yesterday. If it was a biscuit or a cookie, he wouldn't be sharing. But on this sack, I don't think he's going to share it either.
You say it now. He's a big man, bigger than you, my friend.
You bet.
On 3rd and 16. McNair avoids the rush, steps forward. Almost intercepted by Brown. Anthony Pleasant got in the face of McNair in the backfield. Brown nearly knocked the ball in the air to himself.
And that's what made this play work, allowing Corum Brown to recover on the play. Had help over the top on the play right at the end by Ray Mickens. But the presence in the pocket right here of Steve McNair of moving away from the rush and avoiding the rush and getting the ball downfield. James Ferrier's going to mirror him the entire afternoon. He was in the backfield along with defensive end Anthony Pleasant.
Sixth punt of the day for Hentrich. Leon Johnson fields at the 19. Nice cutback move by Johnson. And he gets out to the 28-yard line. Tackle made by Dennis Stallings. 56-yard punt. And the Jets in complete control.
Didn't get to the playoffs, and they just know inside that they're going to find a way to get there. They know they blew a chance last week to go up one on the Tennessee Oilers and some of the other people in the division, but they know how important this game is to win this game today.
Martin got off to the slow start. He's picked it up. 121 yards on the ground and a touchdown. His 4th rushing score of the season. Curtis Martin getting across the 35, but not enough for the first down. Eddie Robinson with a tackle. 4th down, New York. And keep in mind, 60 minutes will be coming up after our coverage here this afternoon. Jets looking to improve to 7-4. And 3-3 on the road if they can hold on for the win. John Kidd will punt. Derek Mason will return. He's standing at his own 21. Approaching the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Kidd. Mason catches cleanly at the 21, makes a move. And out of bounds at the 36-yard line. 43-yard punt, a 15-yard return, and a flag on the play. Ron Blum, the referee, will sort it out. Tennessee has just been completely deflated here in the second half of action.
They look like a different team compared to the first half. They've got no momentum going for them.
Well, the ball was in the air, holding 37 of the receiving team. Penalties enforced from where possession changed. 10 yards, first down.
Danon Sidney called for the hold. And again, the Oilers forced to back up. Field position has been a big part of it for Tennessee. But they have just been out of sync offensively, especially in the second half. They got something going in the second quarter, but the numbers don't lie. 35 yards in the second half of action. And we're talking about a team that, over the last 6 weeks, has been among the better teams offensively in the National Football League.
They've averaged over 172 yards rushing alone in the last 6 games.
Oilers had scored 20 or more points in every game they've played since October 11th. Not today. McNair, flag comes down. And he's twirled down at the 10-yard line. Chad Cascade. James Farrier also involved.
And that's in the area of holding, Ian. And defensive end Anthony Pleasant is just having his way with left tackle Scott Sanderson going inside, bull rushing him.
Face, 73 offense. Penalties declined. Second down.
And that's Sanderson, who you just mentioned, making a second consecutive start for Brad Hopkins, who's out with a knee injury.
We talked to Jeff Fisher yesterday, and he said he's a little light in the tank. He needs to gain weight and get stronger, but Anthony Pleasant just came with a rip move on the inside. There's the right hand of Sanderson in the face mask area of Anthony Pleasant, and that's the infraction.
2nd and 10 for Tennessee. Straight back McNair. Again was forced to run a bit, but this time he was able to get it off to Jackie Harris. And a first down for the Oilers on the pass play. That was Jackie Harris's 300th NFL reception. So the 8th-year veteran, formerly with Green Bay and Tampa Bay, achieving a milestone here this afternoon. No huddle offense for Tennessee. And another catch for Harris. Mo Lewis in on the stop. Time now for an NFL Today report as we head to New York at Jim Nantz.
All right, Ian. Earlier today, Rod Smith threw a completion to John Elway. Now the quarterback returns the favor with a touchdown pass to Rod Smith. They missed on a 2-point try, but Denver's up 12 with 10 minutes to go. Back to you.
So it looks like the Denver Broncos will keep their perfect record intact.
They keep finding ways to win each week, and they just don't give up. They're very relentless in their pursuit of an undisputed season.
Over the middle to Frank Wycheck. Lost the football. Corwin Brown, right place, right time. It's been that kind of day for Tennessee.
When I talked about the speed of the linebackers early, that was Mo Lewis chasing down Wycheck, knocking the ball out, allowing Corwin Brown to just catch it in midstream and return it back to the New York Jets. That's just all-out hustle for the linebackers, going down the field of play, making big plays. Right behind Wycheck, right there's the scoop move. LT originated that little scoop from the backside, taught the linebackers all throughout New York in the National Football League, but that's a smart play by linebacker Mo Lewis of coming behind him and knocking that ball out of him.
4th fumble of the day for Tennessee, but that's the first one they've lost. Mo Lewis Was not much of a factor last week. The exact opposite here today. Gerald Soule now in the backfield for New York, and he'll get the call. Coming up tonight on CBS, Dr. Jack Kevorkian got away. They were just overmatched in the second half here today. Soule trying to push the pile ahead. Gerald Soule, who had fumbleitis a couple of weeks ago in the victory over Buffalo, getting another opportunity here today. And it looks like Curtis Martin might be done for the day. Soule will now go to the sideline. Martin, 27 carries, 123 yards and a touchdown, and Soule will actually stay in there as Leon Johnson checks in. Oilers held Jerome Bettis to 29 yards on 14 carries a week ago. They could not contain Curtis Martin this afternoon. Third and 4 from the 28. Soule in motion. And nothing there for Leon Johnson. The Oilers defensively able to fire in with Perry Phoenix. And a fourth down for New York. Well, as most of you already know, turkeys are brilliant animals. They're smart enough to, counting down to 2:21 left. As the Jets take a timeout to stop the clock. They face a fourth down, and they lead it 24-3. They'll improve to 7-4. And a good bounce back after the loss to Indianapolis. And just to follow up on the storyline that we started the broadcast with, the Jets losing to teams that they're supposed to beat, and then coming back and beating teams that you come in and say, well, maybe there's a question mark in this one, beating quality teams in the NFL.
You're absolutely right, and I think Coach Bill Parcells put a major emphasis on coming out the second half and not giving up, not being complacent. And hey, let's play better in the second half, score some points, let's put the stake in their heart, and that's how you win football games, and that's how you get mature and go to that next level. Last week, no points in the second half, and they just could not move the ball effectively in the second half. This week, it's an entirely different team in the second half, so I know that he was in there at halftime making some major adjustments.
Jets will go for it on fourth down. They are 5 of 10 on fourth down conversions this season. Soule and Johnson in the backfield. Will be a pitch for Johnson on a 4th and 7. Leon Johnson very close to the marker, but he'll be just a little bit short. And the Jets will turn it over on downs to Tennessee. Joe Bowden down following the play and slow to get up. The Oilers medical staff will come out and take a look at Bowden. Should mention here, while we have time, Weeb Ewbank, former head coach of the New York Jets, one of the all-time greats, a legendary coach, passed away earlier this week. Funeral services were held for him yesterday in his hometown of Oxford, Ohio, 91 years old. 20 years as a head coach in either the NFL or AFL, 11 with the Jets, and the only coach to win world championships in both the National Football League and the American Football League. The Jets were supposed to wear decals today on their helmets that said the word "we," but really a very strange story. They were sent to the Jets hotel, and somebody went to pick them up, but he wasn't from the Jets. He claimed he was from the Jets. He picked up the package, and he just walked out with them. So the Jets were never able to get the decals in time for this game. I'm sure they'll have them in time for next week's game against Carolina at the Meadowlands. Weeb Ewbank, inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame back in 1978. Died at the age of 91 earlier this week. Dave Craig is in at quarterback. The veteran replaces Steve McNair for the final 2 minutes and change. On the handoff, just nothing doing for Mike Archie. Chad Cascadden read it perfectly. And we hit the 2-minute warning. Jets have a sizable lead. 24-3. New York cruising in the fourth. Back with you in Nashville as Dave Craig was able to make the completion of Mike Archie. And the clock continues to roll with 1:45 and ticking left in the fourth. The Jets rise to the occasion here today. And the Tennessee Oilers came out flat in the second half. New York with a 24-3 lead. Craig firing over the middle, incomplete. Michael Roan, the intended receiver. And fourth down for Tennessee. 60 minutes coming up next, except on the West Coast. Hope you'll stay with us for that. Craig Hentrich will punt it away. 7th punt of the afternoon. And Leon Johnson waits at his own 27-yard line. Johnson steps forward at the 29. And not much there for Johnson as he moves ahead to the 33. 46-yard punt and a 4-yard return for Leon Johnson. Disappointing day for the double threat from Tennessee. Steve McNair and Eddie George. 137 yards passing for McNair, 72 yards on the ground for George. And that is just not going to cut it for Tennessee to be successful.
And offensively, they just couldn't get it in sync for the Tennessee Oilers. And I think that has a lot to do with not moving their quarterback, Steve McNair, out of the pocket, because that's when he's been most successful the last month of playing ball.
Clock ticking away as we hit the 1-minute mark. Just 50 seconds to play here in Nashville. And for those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS of the game between the Jets and the Tennessee Oilers. Ian Eagle, along with Mark May. 24-3 is our score. With the Jets in front, 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast. And that will do it. The New York Jets bounce back following a deflating loss to the Colts last week. The Jets come through with a victory in Nashville over the Oilers. 24-3 the final. Vinny Testaverde, what a second half. Testaverde with a couple of touchdown passes. Curtis Martin with a 31-yard touchdown run, his longest scamper of the season. And the Jets just take control of this game in the second half for the 24-3 victory. So for Mark May, I'm Ian Eagle saying so long from Nashville. Final score, 24-3 tonight.